Hello, and welcome to today's tour. We'll be looking at Seabreeze, which is my own island. It's the second island I've made, and it is a themed Tropicore island. We've definitely seen a lot of awesome Tropicore builds in the Animal Crossing community, and I was definitely inspired to create my own tropical oasis island. Seabreeze is modeled after a luxury resort, so you'll see a lot of classic resort activities as well as hotel amenities and the like. To start off the tour, you can see we are at the airport, which enters into a pretty basic entrance. This is really just a transitional point to some of the bigger builds on the island. But you can see we've got a little terraforming, a little fountain, and right off the gate you can see a rock garden up on the cliffside, which is kind of placed around this volcano to create kind of a natural moment, a natural landscape that you might come look at on the island. And before we get too far into the tour, let's take a look at the map. This island just has one resident, myself. And you can see that a lot of the villagers are tropical themed, or at the very least have kind of a sweet neutral demeanor to them that works well on this tropical island. The villager houses are spread out in a couple different clusters, and you can see that there's a lot of terraforming with water and small bits of pathway and patches of sand that will make sense as we continue the tour. And the next thing we're going to do is look at some of the custom paths I made for this island. I actually made quite a few of the patterns that I'm using along this island for myself. And because this isn't a dream address, we're just touring my live island, we're going to have to open up the design portal here instead of kind of looking at it on resident services. But now that everything is loading up, you can see that quite a few of these designs are my own. I definitely pushed myself on this island to get better at pixel art, and I'm really glad I did. Not all the, codes are super complicated, but they all help me create a really cohesive island with different colorways and some specific activities that I wasn't finding the right codes for myself. So, a mixture of patterns, some pool texture, a volleyball court, and some custom signage. And with that, we'll actually start moving around the island here. So we'll go off to the left. And the first thing we come across is you can kind of see tucked behind the castle wall there is some pool areas. So enclosed in this space is this really nice relaxing pool area with some special hot tubs and kind of smaller soaking pools. There's lots of loungers and comfy places to kind of sit and enjoy the sun. And you can see tucked behind the castle walls and the curtains back there is resident services. So I used a lot of 2.0 items to make this area feel much more enclosed in like a purposeful sort of courtyard of sorts. And off to the left we have a little bit of a coffee bar area where you can maybe come in the morning and get some coffee or a dessert scone of some sort, and sit at the nice umbrella tables and enjoy the kind of garden, tropical garden landscape that's off to the left and the river that's kind of winding along this area. Coming back through, this area leads into a nice little beach where we have some areas to just lounge on a hammock, read a magazine by the sea. And then over on this side we have these kind of beachside cabana tents, if you will. So maybe you want to get out of the sun a little bit but still spend the day next to the water. You can spend time in one of these tents here on the beach. And then we'll move over to this bridge, which leads into the river mouth here. I'm really happy with how this terraforming turned out. Tried to make it kind of a lush, winding river, so to break up a little bit of the hardscaped areas of the island to make it feel more like the natural landscape that you'd find in a tropical environment. And I really like how this area looks through the first-person camera, so we'll take a little peek like this. And continuing down the path to the left, we come to one of my favorite areas of the island, which is the golf course. I feel like a golf course is a really normal thing you see at fancy resorts or hotels or vacation destinations. So I set out to create a golf course. There's only one hole. We obviously don't want to take up the entire island making a golf course, but I was pretty happy with how it turned out. Looking online, I only saw inspiration for mini golf courses, and I really wanted this to feel like part of a full, 18-hole golf course. So even though it's a little bit short in the fairway, I think you get the sense that this is kind of a normal golf course with the golf cart build in the back, the sand trap, all the golf clubs sitting around, and kind of the vast expanse of fairway that we have in between the tee-off zone and the putting green. And then nestled behind the golf course here is a little peek into the Flamingo Cove. So we have a lot more terraforming here, and this is kind of a natural habitat for all the flamingos on the island. From here, we'll explore this area of the beach a little bit. So coming around the side of the golf course, we have a little bit more of the flamingo habitat. This time they're kind of spilling out to the beach. I really like how lush this area looks with the flamingos and the spring pond and whatnot. The grass standees add a nice bit of texture and kind of a sense of scale into the background. And then if you keep coming along, you get to the island peninsula. I've used it to terraform a little waterfall moment and added a lighthouse. So this is somewhere you might happen upon if you're taking a stroll on the beach, and you just come to this nice little vista where you can kind of sit out and look at the ocean. And we'll just backtrack a little bit along the beach line. And here is the dock. And now that we have Captain in the game, we had to, accommodate that in the dock design. So I decided to turn it into kind of a little boat tour area. So if you were on the island on vacation, you might charter a little boat trip with Captain here. And he's got brochures, he's got posters, and you can tour all the little islands of the archipelago with Captain here. So this is where you'd hop on for your little boat excursion. And then moving along, we have our first cluster of villager homes. When I made this, I had the thought that the villager homes weren't necessarily permanent residences, but rather vacation villas that you could rent on the island. So these ones are our beachfront villas. So you can wake up and open your door to your little vacation rental and you're right on the beach. And everybody has their own little table and chairs where you can kind of sit out there in the morning and look out at the ocean. Because this island was designed after the 2.0 update came out, I did decorate all of my villager home interiors as well. So for anybody who's home today on the tour, we'll just have a quick look inside. Here's Flurry's house. Some of the homes are decorated in a little bit more of the tropical vacation mode, and some of them are a little bit just more reflective of what I think the villagers' personality are. So you can see Flurry's house is nice and bright and light and pink. And we'll continue our tour by kind of backtracking a bit to another area of the island. So if we come through this pool area, like I said, we see resident services. And up the staircases, we come to a little bit more of the city district of the island. We've got Nook's Cranny and Able Sisters up here, the museum. So I fashioned this a little bit more like, maybe the shopping center you might come to on an island. It's a little bit more of a touristy area where you can buy things. You know, if we had restaurants, there'd be a restaurant here. It's a little more structured and that has a road and sidewalks and pretty deliberate symmetrical landscaping. The store merchandise is kind of spilled out onto the street. All the way to the left you have the museum, and there's all sorts of little fun tchotchkes and museum guides outside to kind of entice you to come in and learn about all the natural flora and fauna of the island. And then if you follow this pathway back behind the shops and such, we get to our next cluster of vacation villas. And these villas are nestled inside an orange grove on the island. So you can see the sidewalk kind of extends out to either side here to create this lookout moment where you can kind of look from above over out at this orange grove. Both on the right and left sides. And I really like how this area turned out. If you've noticed already, most of the island is set in kind of white, pink, and blue tones. And when I had the idea to kind of include a fruit grove, the oranges just looked so good. I tried the peaches, but they just weren't quite giving me the oomph I wanted. And the oranges just looked so gorgeous with these more white and brown tones back in this area of the island. And oranges feel like a pretty tropical fruit, so it all worked out perfectly. So here we'll visit another villager home. And it's Audie's house. She's a pretty tropical villager to start with. Unfortunately, she's wearing her athletic wear right now in this video, but we know she's normally wearing that tropical print dress, so her house is definitely much more tropical themed than Flurry's was. So this area just has trees, flowers, bushes. Every villager home has a little spot to sit outside, a little rattan rug kind of on the ground to give it that nice depth and that kind of warm, earthy feeling back here as well. And since this is a more natural part of the island, you can see we're using a custom variation of the path that's kind of a tropical sand looking version. Other areas of the island are more landscaped with like marble pathing or stone pathing. And this is the next big build area of the island, and it's a wedding venue. So this is somewhere where you'd come to have a destination wedding on the beach. I've taken the secret beach of my island and created this altar area where you'd have weddings at sunset on the beach. This just seems like such a great, sweet place to get married. We've got a picture-perfect moment here against the ocean. We've got a couple seats for your friends and family, the aisle to walk down, and plenty of beautiful palm trees surrounding you. And then if you keep venturing further to the left, kind of through this little more lush wooded area, you come to this space that I don't really know what to call it. It's kind of like an outdoor bar and entertainment venue. This is where you might come at night to listen to live music. You can dance up here on the decking. I was trying to see if I had a dancing reaction loaded, but I didn't. So you can imagine at night this space looks really beautiful with all the lights and the music going. There's confetti cannons in the background. So you can either be up on stage dancing, or you could, just be taking in the live music and the atmosphere down here on these tables, drinking a fruity coconut cocktail. And then off to the beach side here is a little bit more expanded of the actual bar, where you might come and grab something to drink or take a seat away from the music a little bit so you can talk and chat and meet people. And then just to give you a sense of where we're at, that butts up to the peninsula, so this area is kind of tucked away back in the corner. If you remember from the map, the orange grove is kind of surrounded by river on all sides. And if we backtrack up through the commercial district area, we'll go to the left of resident services. This is a really natural part of the island, so it's really lush and overgrown with trees and flowers and bushes. And you can see we're coming up along a river here. Really love this little view with the stone arch bridge kind of just spanning the river with the waterfall in the background and lots of flowers and palm trees. So if we come around here, you can see there's a little sign that shows that there's kind of a scenic overlook up above if you follow that ramp up. So it's almost kind of like, oh, take a little walk over here, or a little hike, if you will. And we come to this huge scenic overlook. There's a body of water. We've got waterfalls and vines and trees and flowers. And kind of tucked away on a little peninsula within the water is a statue, maybe something that's been on this island for a long, long time from inhabitants a long ago. So you can come down here to the water side to get a little bit better look. And if we come back up, there's one more lookout point for this area. If you climb up the ladder, if you're really adventurous, you can get to this third tier to really look down below at the vista. Coming back through, we'll head over to explore the right side of the island now. And right off of the commercial district is actually the hotel and the main residence on this island. We'll come back to look at the interiors in a second, but first we'll kind of go back behind here. There's a nice waterfall landscaping moment with a double bridge, and this leads us to our final vacation villa area. Here we have 4 villagers back here, and it's a much more kind of well manicured place to rent. There's pathways, a fountain, everything's really symmetrical and laid out in a grid, so this is where you might want to stay if you're not so much into the nature part of the island as you are of the elegant kind of luxury aspect. So let's visit Julia's home. And once again, since this isn't a dream address, my villagers are doing their thing. So Julia's cooking right now. So if we wanted to, we could get the recipe for her, but we'll just take a look at the interior styling, which is very much based off her coloring. There's lots of blues and greens, and it's just kind of a luxurious, beautiful little home for her. So we'll come along the other side here, and you can see there's a bridge on each side of this landscaping moment. And from here, we'll go into the house. Like I said, there's just one house on this island, one resident. So I took the interiors and styled them as if this was the actual hotel resort on the island. So you can see in the main room here, we have the hotel lobby. I really love how this room turned out. We have the beautiful check-in desk right away with the partition walls behind it. Creates a really nice sense of space in this lobby. You've got your check-in counter with the desk, and there's a little bell you can ring, you know, to get someone's attention if they're not at the desk. We've got luggage scattered around, a clock, a magazine rack in the back, so it all just feels very much hotel lobby. And then kind of separated by the walls back here, we have a little bit more of a lounging area with this custom coat of plants on the back wall, so it makes it seem like a really lush, beautiful room. Whoops, I don't think I meant to open the dresser there. I think I meant to turn the espresso machine on. So this is a place where you can kind of come down in the morning, get a quick cup of coffee before you head out into the, you know, the beautiful beach outdoors of the island. Moving into our first room off to the left here is a guest suite. So this is, you know, a room you would actually rent if you were to stay here at this hotel. It feels very beachy and warm and clean, light and airy and inviting. You can see there's like a beautiful clawfoot tub. Once again, using partition walls to kind of create a luxury ensuite bathroom area for this hotel room. Accenting all these white and kind of brown rattan details with green. And we'll move on to the next room. In the back here is where we have the gym and yoga studio. So I feel like hotels always have gyms. I don't personally use them. I guess some people do, but certainly in like a luxury resort like this, I think this gym feels very well intentioned. It's very warm and cozy and light and inviting. You've got your exercise equipment, you got some nice yoga mats on the ground, so it feels like somewhere you might actually want to come and relax, not necessarily just kind of like some sort of dark windowless room with a sad treadmill in it. Back through the lobby and we'll visit the right side room. As you can see, this is another guest suite. Has a lot of the same furniture and styling as the first one, but you can see this one has kind of a living room attachment instead of a bathroom. It looks just as warm and cozy and inviting as the first room. A little bit of a kind of a changing area over to the side here. I love how the wall fans interacts with the plants, kind of adding a little breeze when it kind of moves by the palm frond there, as you can see. And next we'll go upstairs. Here we have the island spa. This might be my favorite interior build on this island. Every luxury resort needs a luxury spa, and Seabreeze is no different. So we have this beautiful kind of central area with these hot tubs, soaking tubs. Off to the side you have maybe some loungers where you might get a massage or a facial of some sort. Everything's lit by like candles, and it just has a very relaxing, cozy, dark, kind of muted vibe in here. And then down to the basement, our last interior. And of course, we need a hotel bar. So off to the left, you can see is more traditional, the bar area. And then in the middle, we have a stage with live music. Off to the right side are these like more luxurious kind of booth areas. And much like the spa, this is kind of like a dark, moody interior build. So not quite the light, bright, beachy outside, but more of a very elevated kind of luxury take on island decor. Alright, so that'll do it for the interior. And we'll continue on looking at the last little bits of the island. Right outside the hotel, if you follow this pathway, you come to this small waterfall and double stairs. Which lead us down onto the main pool deck. Every resort needs a fabulous pool, and this is Seabreeze's. We've already kind of looked at that area by Resident Services that had a couple pools, but I always thought those to be a little bit more like smaller lounge pools, hot tub areas. This is kind of the big main feature pool of the island. So you can see got this big main swimming area. We've got the actual Animal Crossing pool tucked in the back corner to give everything a lot of dimension and depth and make it feel like this pool has like a couple different areas to it. The whole area is just lined with palm trees and loungers to relax and sit on. There's even a palm tree kind of growing in the middle of the pool, so it feels like one of those very luxury resorts where, you know, the pool, it's not just a simple rectangle. It's got a little bit more going on to it. And just to give you a sense of where we are on the island, you can see we connected right back over to the entrance over there. So if we had started this tour by going right, we would have came to the pool right away. And then off to the side here, we have a little smoothie bar. So you can kind of pull up and get yourself something freshly made with fruit. Got a menu and blenders and a little bar to pull up a stool at here and order something delicious. And coming back through the pool, if you go off to the side here, you can see now we're right on the beach. And there's lots of little areas on the beach over here where you can relax. We've got blankets, towels, books, umbrellas, everything you might want for kind of a leisurely day out on the beach. And if you hop over to this side, this is the surfing area. So you can see we've got lots of places to hang out over here. The campsite is kind of tucked away into this little corner of the island. Maybe if you really were into surfing, maybe you rent the campsite tent for the night and you can kind of wake up right next to the waves in the morning and get out there on your surfboard right away. And if you're not already a surfer, I imagine this is a little place where you can kind of come and rent a surfboard, sign up for lessons. Lots of resorts do that in tropical locations where you kind of can learn to surf with people they have on staff. So that's what that little area is back there. If we hop back over, we'll kind of continue looking at the beach along this side of the island. We've got another blanket, this time with a bit of a picnic setup. Place to listen to music, play a little ukulele. And on the front side here we have our beach volleyball court. I really loved how this build turned out. As you can see, I'm not actually using the net we got in the 2.0 update. I built this area before we had that item, and I made it with the fence kind of butting up against the festival garland back there. And once I put in the regular volleyball net that we can order from, I think, Nook Miles now, it lost a little bit of its beachy charm, so I kept it how it was. I found that in a couple places on my island where I'd kind of built something before the 2.0 items came, and even though I got like a perfect item for this area, I just didn't like how the build looked as much with it, so I kept it as it was, and I really like how it looks. And this last little spot here, you can see if you kind of come down off the pool deck, is a little fire pit area with lots of couches and pillows and lounge chairs. And this is also where we're going to end our tour today. So if you happen to watch this video, thank you so much for sticking around and looking at my island with me. I really appreciate the time you may have spent here with me on Seabreeze. And until next time, thank you.